Have you ever walked into a room, said nothing, and the atmosphere changed? All eyes turned to you, not because of your appearance, not because of your actions, but because of your presence. It's not an illusion, it's energy. It's the invisible force field you create just by existing. In the depths of your consciousness, Carl Jung called this, the self, the organizing center of your entire personality, where your ego and your true nature meet. When these two elements become one, your energy becomes more than just a feeling, it becomes a vibration that reaches others before you even speak. And not everyone is ready to accept that. Some are drawn to it, enlightened. Others feel uneasy. Your light, even unintentionally, can reveal hidden corners that people would rather keep hidden. Since ancient times, people with special powers, magicians, sages, spiritual leaders, have carried a dynamic force field that made others wary, even silent, when they entered. So what creates such an aura? It's about alignment between your inner self and your outer self. It's about who you are on the inside and who you are on the outside. And when that happens, the energy you carry begins to shape the space around you. It becomes a magnetic field, unobtrusive, unproven, but enough to make the whole room stop. In today's video, I'm going to share 13 signs that your aura is so strong that it makes others feel nervous, confused, or even scared. This isn't something you should hide. It's a sign that you've come a long way on your journey of personal growth. Stay tuned until the end, because you'll not only recognize these traits, but also understand why your differences aren't a burden, but a form of deep strength. 1. You make others feel threatened, even if you don't mean to. You walk into a room. Say nothing. Don't try to stand out. Don't carry any agenda other than silence and kindness. But the atmosphere changed. Some eyes became wary. Some people suddenly became tense, smiled awkwardly, and spoke more hastily than usual. Have you ever experienced this? If so, know that it's not your fault. And it's not because you're too cool or unapproachable, as many people have labeled you. The truth is, your aura is so strong that your social masks are starting to crack. Carl Jung called it the persona, the mask each of us learns to wear in order to be accepted by society. Some people stick with it for so long that they forget their true nature. They live in a role, gentle, sociable, kind, polite, but it is all just a shell, and the more they depend on that shell, the more vulnerable they are to those who do not need to wear a mask. You did nothing wrong, you just are. And it is this very being, the pure presence and unity of who you are inside and how you live outside, that becomes a threat to those who are not ready to live authentically. They feel like you're seeing through them, even though you're not trying to. They feel like you're judging them, even though you haven't said a word. They feel like you're being pushy, even though you're just holding your ground. It's not the truth about you. It's a projection from within them. Because light, when it shines on an object, always creates a shadow. And when you enter a space with a clear, strong, and undisguised energy, you project that light onto others. You don't have to say anything, but your presence forces them to see their own shadow. And not everyone has the courage to face that. People who have not resolved their inner conflicts often react with defenses, with prejudice, with labeling, with distancing. They say you're arrogant. They say you're cold. They say you make people uncomfortable. You don't actually do anything. You're just there, whole, and unasked for permission to be yourself. And that is a revolutionary act in a world where most people are acting. In the language of Stoic philosophy, this is the expression of an unwavering inner force, a form of self-mastery that does not need to speak, but shakes the unstable around it. The thing to remember is, you don't intimidate others with aggression. You intimidate with your own strength. Your silence others perceive as judgment. Your calmness others perceive as arrogance. Your clarity others interpret as coldness. Not because you are wrong, but because they have not learned to be at peace with themselves. But don't shrink back just to make others feel comfortable. Dimming your light to make it less dazzling to others is a form of self-betrayal, is always reactive. A person who lives true to his nature always causes a reaction or resist, either awaken or resist. Were not you. You were born to remind, and you weren't born to be understood. You were born to remind others that it is possible to live authentically, that we do need to wear masks. Rousseau speaks, the net when. That we don't need to wear masks, that silence has a voice too, that pure energy can dissolve all illusions. Just because you live honestly, that, Amy Victor. In a world filled with pretense, sincerity becomes a threat. You're powerful and silent. The screen. Look at themselves. And you, with your strong, consistent and silent aura, are the mirror that makes others look back at themselves. 2. You don't have to try to impress. Your presence is enough to make people remember you. There are people who come in and then vanish as if they never existed. And there are also people who, even though they don't say much, even though they just pass by, leave an imprint that others can't shake off. If you belong to the second group, it's no coincidence. It's the first sign that your aura, your energy field, cannot be ignored. Your aura is not something people see, it is something people feel. It is a thickness of energy frequency, a dense form of presence. It is the unity of who you are on the inside and how you appear on the outside. When you enter a space, your physical body comes last, your mind and energy come first. Carl Jung once said, "Psyche transcends the limits of the body. You are more than just flesh and thoughts, you are presence. And that presence is forged from what you have experienced, from the values you have not compromised, from the wounds you have healed with your own courage." The more authentic a person is, the more transparent, the purer their energy becomes, and the more unforgettable it becomes. They don't need to shout to be noticed. Their aura is like a colorless scent, invisible but felt by everyone. It awakens memories, evokes emotions, soothes some, and disturbs others. The mark you leave behind is a faithful reflection of your inner state, and consistency doesn't mean rigidity, it means harmony between what you think, what you feel, and what you do. It's a unique frequency that doesn't fade over time. You don't need to explain who you are. You don't need to shrink to be accepted. You weren't born to blend into the crowd. Yes, sometimes you will feel lost, like an exception in a chaotic world. But that's not being lost. It's a testament to the fact that your aura comes before you, and others respond to it, sometimes with curiosity, sometimes with resistance. 3. You change the energy of a space. You realize it, sometimes. Sometimes you realize it, sometimes you don't. But the truth is, it happens all the time. The power you carry is not loud or showy. It does not seek attention. On the contrary, it is quiet but profound. You step in and something becomes real. People start sitting up straighter. Some people fall silent for a moment. The atmosphere changes not because you try to control it, but simply because you are present. Barbara Brennan, scientist and energy expert, once said, "The human energy field extends in all directions and interacts with everything around it, people, the environment, emotional states. That energy field carries invisible messages about who you are, about your emotions, and about the things you have experienced. And when your energy is strong, clear, and real, it automatically rearranges the space, not with effort, but with pure presence." Carl Jung called this symbolic presence. You don't have to try to influence, but the life force inside you awakens something in the unconscious of others. You become a symbol without trying to be one, and that changes the atmosphere around you. Some people call it magnetism, but really, it's your inner vibrational frequency, the synchronization of your mind, emotions, and action. That synchronization creates resonance. It rearranges, it heals or reveals hidden things. It rearranges, it stirs. It heals or reveals what is hidden. Do the impact you make, but the space around you always feels it. You don't always see the impact you make, but the space around you always feels it. Your aura doesn't need a stage. It doesn't need noise to. It works in the deep in. It doesn't need to be loud to get noticed. It works at the deep level where the real things start to move. 4. Your intuition reads people and spaces easily. Is fortune-telling not a hunch, not a dismystical. It is the ability to read energy. This is not fortune-telling. This is not a hunch. This is not a mystical gift. This is the ability to read energy silently but accurately. You walk into a place and you know something is wrong, even if everything on the outside seems normal. You meet someone, and even though they are smiling and laughing, you can sense the unease simmering inside them. You feel the tension in the air, even when everything is quiet. It's like your skin breathes the environment around you. It's like your body is translating invisible vibrations. I think that's intuition. And when your aura is clear, open, and stable, your intuition acts like a delicate antenna. It picks up subtle signals, waves that other people don't notice, and turns them into clear feelings, even when you have no proof, no reason, no explanation. Carl Jung once said that the unconscious communicates through symbols, emotions, and feelings. And intuition is the language of the self, your deepest self. It doesn't make noise, it doesn't argue, it doesn't force. It simply knows. You know when someone's energy is out of sync. You know when someone is pretending to be okay. You know when a place has negative energy or is safe. It all happens before your conscious mind can process it. And this sometimes makes you tired, because you know too much even when you don't want to know. You feel too much even when you're trying to detach yourself from it all. But that's not a weakness. It's an awakened sensitivity. It's an ability to read the depths of the world, a rare skill in an age of noise and artificiality. And like every other delicate sense, it needs protection. You need alone time. You need space to decompress. You need real connections for the sake of. It's the price of feeling things too clearly. But it's also the gift of those brave enough to live without pretense. 5. Other people project their shadows onto you. You do nothing. You are just there in your truest, quietest state, not trying to prove anything, not seeking attention. And yet, someone gets angry, another person becomes silent and distant. Someone admires you too much, then quickly turns away. You're confused. You ask yourself, what did I do wrong? But the truth is, you didn't do anything. Your aura, when strong and stable enough, begins to activate the darkness that others have not dealt with within themselves. Carl Jung called it the shadow. It is the collection of parts of ourselves that have been denied, repressed, forgotten, just to be accepted by society. But the darkness does not disappear. It just retreats into the subconscious, and then one day it is awakened by the light. And you are that light. The truth you radiate, even when you don't say anything, makes others see what they dare not face. The dreams they forgot. The wounds have not healed. Repressed desires. The parts that were never fully lived. And then you become the mirror. Others project onto you what they are not ready to see in themselves. You are labeled with emotions that are not yours. Being called arrogant when you are just being yourself. Being called scary when you are just being clear. Being judged as too different when you are just being different. They are not reacting to you. They are reacting to their own shadow, awakened through you. That's why you need to learn to distinguish what's yours and what's someone else's projection, not to justify yourself, not to defend yourself, but but to keep yourself from losing yourself in emotions that don't belong to you. Being projected by others is not a punishment. It is a sign that you are glowing, because true light always reveals darkness. And strong aura is always an invitation. Look into yourself. 6. Small talk drains your energy. You have tried. Did you politely ask about the weather, about things every day? You smiled politely, nodded politely, asked about the weather, about the usual things people say every day. But the more you tried, the more you felt yourself withdrawing inside, as if your mind was quietly retreating, as if a part of you was saying, "There is nothing for me here." It's not that you're arrogant. It's not that you lack communication skills. It's simply that your energy can no longer tolerate inauthentic conversations. Your aura, when it becomes strong and pure, becomes picky about things that have no depth. You notice immediately when a conversation is just filler, when words are just sound without a soul. You can't pretend to be interested. You can't force a smile at empty words. And that exhausts you. You don't need deep conversations all the time. You don't need high philosophy. You just need real presence, a listening gaze, unforced silence, a few simple words that come from the heart. Carl Jung once said, "We become whole by integrating the subconscious, not by denying it." But superficial conversation is the opposite. It is denial. It is playing around with the real. It is masks talking to each other while the soul stays out. And your aura, with its practiced honesty, can no longer bear it. But this truth also has consequences. You will have fewer friends, fewer groups. Crowded meetings will become uncomfortable. Crowds are no longer a place for you to belong, but in return you will gain deep silence. You will have rare but honest conversation. You will connect with people who are also searching for truth, just like you. It's not loneliness, it's cleansing. The world has too much noise, but too little presence. And you, just by being yourself, silently ask, "Be real," or say nothing at all. 7. Your silence speaks more than 1,000 words. No need to argue, no need to speak up to prove. You don't need to explain. You don't need to argue. You don't need to prove anything. Because your silence is a form of language in itself. Strong. A person with a strong aura knows how to keep the energy inside, meaningless. Others, just to fill the void. Don't get caught up in meaningless chatter. Don't waste yourself trying to please others. Don't waste words just to fill the void. And in that silence, quiet happened. You are fully present. You are not. Something special happens. You are fully present. What to attract attention? Presence. You don't need to do anything to attract attention. Your presence is enough to make an impact. Carl Jung once said that people carry within them a life force that can influence others without words. That is the power of presence. When you walk into a space and without saying a word, people still feel you. People still feel drawn to you. People still adjust their attitude, posture, or emotions just because you are there. Your silence is intentional stillness. It is not a void. It is fullness, a steady, deep, unwavering inner energy. Strong know that. Everything needs a response, not every emotion. Keep quiet. People with strong auras know that. Not everything requires a response. Not every emotion needs to be shared. And sometimes keeping quiet is the highest expression of strength. B. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, seen, and accepted, silence becomes a tacit declaration. I have nothing to prove. I know who I am. And that coming from someone who has worked deeply with himself, become extremely attractive, full of power. Silence at the right time can make people look back at themselves, Conscious silence is a sign of confidence, and silence is an expression of true confidence. And silence from a steady orb abandon, never be ignored. It speaks for you. Because in the end, people don't remember what you said, they remember see. They remember how you made them feel. Feeling only from deep silence, and sometimes that feeling is created only by deep silence and steady presence. 8. The freedom in you makes people who are still living in a shell feel uncomfortable. You don't need proof. You don't need to speak up to stand out. You don't need to prove anything. Just being yourself is enough to unsettle those who are hiding from their true selves. The freedom within you is not a noisy rebellion, not an arrogant ego. It is inner freedom, the escape from. An escape from roles, from social masks, from the habit of living to please others. And that makes you such a shining example to those who still live in the darkness of pretense. You don't need to ask others, are you living? The way you live is the question. Carl Jung once said, who you are is who others remember. And when you live freely, honestly, authentically, you unwittingly pose a silent question to the world. What about you? Are you true to yourself? And here's the uncomfortable truth. Not everyone is ready to face that question. Your lightness makes others realize the heaviness they carry. Your courage to be authentic exposes their conformity, fear, and pretense. You do not accuse. You do not condemn. But your freedom is living proof that it is possible to live differently. And that was enough to cause a reaction. Some people will be jealous. Some people will avoid you. Some people will say you are too strange, difficult to understand, even unsettling. But not because you cause unrest, but because your presence exposes the unrest they have tried to hide. You don't live to please anyone. You don't exist to fit in. You live true to yourself, and that, in a world of masks, is a revolutionary act. That is why you are looked at strangely. That is why you are misunderstood. And that is why you are deeply respected by the truly awakened. You remind them that freedom is not something lofty. Freedom begins with daring not to pretend. 9. You attract unexpected revelation. You are just present, listen. Yet others open their hearts. You don't ask. You don't probe. You are just there, present, listening in silence. And yet the other person opens up. Naturally. First, be someone you just met for the first time. Starts telling you about the pain of your childhood, about the injuries you've never told anyone, about the betrayals, the wounds, the things you've kept hidden in your heart for years. You sit there without interrupting, without trying to fix them, without rushing to comfort or give advice. You just listen with your full presence, and that creates a safe space. Carl Jung once said, the subconscious mind is always looking for expression, and when it finds a place that is solid enough, real enough, quiet enough, it will speak. You, with your strong, stable, non-judgmental aura, become the vessel for that expression. You don't ask them to fix themselves. You don't try to analyze or explain their feelings. You simply allow them to be themselves. And that's rare. In a world where everyone is rushing to respond, where everyone is afraid of being judged, your silence becomes a medicine. You're not the one who convinces people to open up. You're the one who makes them feel like they don't need to hide anymore. They feel unscrupulous. No need to wear a mask. No need to be okay in front of you. And when they realized that, the door opened. The story poured out. The pain was named. Tears felt relief. Your aura doesn't force others to reveal themselves. It just allows it to happen naturally. And that can only come from someone who has made peace with their own darkness. You have faced your own pain, so you are not afraid of the pain of others. You have listened to yourself, so you know how to listen to others. You have been broken, so you are not shocked when you see others broken. And that's why you were chosen as a place for others to unload burdens they can no longer bear. 10. You leave your mark even after you're gone. A place but person. still feel you are there. You are noisy, not because you are collecting, you leave a place. But people still feel you are there, not because you are loud, not because you attract attention, but because your energy carries weight. A strong aura does not depend on physical presence. It lingers, like a piece of music that lingers long after it has died. It leaves an imprint on the minds of others, on how they feel after you leave, lighter, deeper, or sometimes more confused. Carl Jung once said, "What you are speaks so loudly I cannot hear what you say. What you are speaks so loudly I cannot hear what you say." And that's the essence of a strong aura. It doesn't need to be said. It leaves a feeling. Your presence creates a real energy field. And when you walk away, that field remains in the minds, emotions, and memories of those you have touched. Some people will feel you missing without knowing why. Others will feel stirred from within, as if they have just come into contact with something profound that they have yet to understand. You don't try to impress. You don't try to leave something behind. You yourself, the real, whole, profound person, is a living impression, and that mark cannot be copied, cannot be imitated, and cannot be easily forgotten. A strong aura does not need to be present to continue to influence, because what you carry with you is not the words, it is the process you have gone through. It is the pain you have overcome, the silence you have learned, and the light you have found in the darkness. You don't need to stay to be remembered, because you were already there, and that is something very few people do. 11. Your aura makes others feel expanded or threatened. Your presence is not neutral. Your presence is not neutral. It stirs, it reaches, it triggers something deep within the other person. Aura, when strong, clean, and able to affect deep levels without. Your aura, when strong, pure, and genuine, has the ability to touch deep levels without words. You do not analyze. Also, you don't try to analyze, nor do you try to interfere. Just by being present, you make the other person feel more than they want to. Carl Jung said, "Everyone carries a shadow, a part of them that they must hide, suppress, or forget in order to be accepted by society." Clear, unified, and when you show up with clear, unified energy, your light unintentionally shines on the dark parts of others, the parts they are not ready to face. This can make others feel uncomfortable, confused, or even react negatively. A mirror of repressed desires, of unhealed pain, of the strength that one once gave up. You become a mirror of repressed desires, of unhealed pain, of the strength that one once gave up. And they feel so agitated by you. They don't understand why they feel triggered by you. They may hate you for no apparent reason, or feel threatened, attracted, or have a nameless feeling. But on the other hand, for those who are ready to awaken, your aura becomes a doorway. They feel expanded when they are around you. They feel braver, more connected, even freer. You do nothing, but your presence becomes a catalyst for transformation. Your aura is like an extended energy field, and each person who enters it will react according to what they carry within. Some people will retreat because you reveal what they wanted to hide. Some people will come closer because you touch what they have been waiting to reveal. You don't change your energy to make others feel good. You just realize their reactions aren't about you, they're about them. Your aura does not ask permission to be present. It simply exists, and those who are ready will receive its gift. 12. Your inner journey is what creates the aura you radiate. What others sense from you, that calmness, that stability, that special light, is not something you learn from books. Nor does it come from inspirational quotes or surface knowledge. It comes from the path you have walked, from the long, lonely nights, from the times you lost, fell, faced yourself in the dark, from the twists and turns that forced you to be reborn in silence. Aura is not a gift you are born with. It is forged from not betraying yourself. You don't shine because you've never been hurt. You shine because you've dared to walk through pain without losing yourself. A strong aura is the result of deep purification. It is when you no longer live to hide, to prove, or to be recognized. You live authentically, and from there your energy becomes unmistakable. People call it charm, inner light, a special vibe. But the truth is, what they feel is the truth that you have bravely lived. You don't need to speak. Your aura speaks for you. And as Carl Jung said, the collective unconscious will react to what it has not yet been able to integrate. Meaning, when you show up with all your light, truth, and depth, the world will respond. Some people will be attracted. Some people will be unsettled. But that is not your responsibility. You are not here to make someone feel good. You are here to be real. So, don't shrink back just because your light is too bright. Don't slow down just because your presence forces others to face themselves. And never apologize for being the honest, whole, unbending version of you are. Your aura is more than just energy. It is an invitation for others to come back to their true selves as well. If you've listened this far, leave a comment. My aura speaks before I do. That will be the silent password reserved for those who truly understand the power of presence. And if you feel this video touches something deep inside you, subscribe to the channel to continue your journey of discovering the power of energy, truth, and your deepest self. 13. Animals, children, and nature feel you. Your aura energy is Nothamans. It connects to the whole. Your aura or energy field doesn't just affect humans. It connects to the entire living world, and living beings like animals, children, and nature have the ability to perceive that aura directly, instinctively, and without being disturbed by it. Able to sense that aura directly, instinctively, and without being disturbed by it. Able to sense that aura directly, instinctively, and animals don't care what you look like. They are not impressed by your status, your looks, or the way you talk. They read your vibrational frequency. They read your true emotional state. They know when you are worried, even when you are smiling. They know when you are safe, even when you are not saying anything. Because they communicate with energy, not with words. Children too. Before they can speak, babies sense your presence. They respond to your eyes, your tone of voice, your emotional state, even your aura. When your aura is calm, genuine, and uninhibited, babies naturally trust you. They feel safe, they smile, they naturally come closer. But if your aura is unsettled, even if you say nothing, your child may become tense, withdrawn, or even cry. Animals, children, and nature, they don't listen with their ears. They listen with their whole bodies. Carl Jung once said, "The subconscious mind needs no explanation. It understands symbols, vibrations, and truth." And that is the language you, when your aura is awakened, are communicating in. A dog comes to lie down next to you. A cat doesn't take its eyes off you. A child sits quietly near you, without fear. None of this is by chance. When your aura is honest, stable, and has nothing to hide, the world unconsciously recognizes you. It is the same with nature. You feel comfortable in the forest. The wind is cooler. The trees seem to accept you. Because you are not carrying resistance. You are in tune with the natural frequency. If you've ever wondered why animals or children seem more approachable to you, here's why. You're emitting an energy that only the real thing can recognize. Your aura is a silent language, and the primal world understands it better than anyone. If you made it to the end of this video, you understand that this is not a list of spiritual signs for you to brag about, nor is it for you to think you are better than others. This is a reminder that your energy is the result of the journey you have lived. A strong aura doesn't come from pretending. It doesn't come from trying to be positive. It comes from the quiet, deep and sometimes lonely work of coming back to who you really are inside. The 13 signs you just heard are not spiritual badges. They are traces of what you have overcome, of the wounds you've healed, of the parts of you that were broken and then stood up stronger, of the times you chose not to betray yourself, even when it meant losing what you once held. Your aura doesn't need to convince anyone. It speaks for itself. And yes, you will be misunderstood. You will be ghosted. You will make some people uncomfortable because you touch on things they cannot face. But that's part of the path you're on. That's the price of being authentic. So don't shrink back. Don't dim your light just to make others feel comfortable. Don't live small in a world that needs you to live fully. Your presence is a silent invitation, inviting others to come back to their true selves. If this content touches something inside you, leave a comment with our password. My aura speaks before I do. Those who have been on this journey will recognize each other. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so to continue to be accompanied by content dedicated to strong consciousness, true energy, and profound life. See you in the next video.